established things were shaken by the Great War. All civilized men had believed in progress, in a warless future, in always increasing wealth. But now, influential young men began to wonder if anything could last, if anything were worth fighting for. In the third year of the war came the most revolutionary man in poetry during my lifetime, though his revolution was stylistic alone. T.S. Eliot published his first book. No romantic word or sound, nothing reminiscent, nothing in the least like the painting of rickets could be permitted henceforth. Poetry must resemble prose, and both must accept the vocabulary of their time, nor must there be any special subject matter. Tristram and Isolde were not a more suitable theme than Paddington railway station. The past had deceived us. Let us accept the worthless present. The morning comes to consciousness of faint, stale smells of beer. From the sawdust-trampled street, with all its muddy feet, there that press to early coffee stands, one thinks of all the hands that are raising dingy shades in 1,000 furnished rooms. We older writers disliked this new poetry, but were forced to admit its satiric intensity. It was in Eliot that certain revolutionary war poets, young men who felt they had been dragged away from their studies, from their pleasant life, by the blundering frenzy of old men, found the greater part of their style. They were too near their subject matter to do, as I think, work of permanent importance, but their social passion, their sense of tragedy, their modernity, have passed into young, influential poets of today. Auden, Spender, Maclise, C.Day-Lewis, etc. Some of these poets are communists, but even in those that are not, there is an overwhelming social bitterness. Some speak of the war in which none were old enough to have served. I have heard them lilting at loom and belting, lasses lilting before dawn of day, but now they are silent, not gamesome and gallant. The flowers of the town are rotting away. There was laughing and loving in the lanes at evening. Handsome were the boys then, and girls were gay, but lost in Flanders by middle commanders, the lads of the village are melted away. This poetry is supported by critics who think it the poetry of the future. In my youth, I heard much of the music of the future. They attack all not of their school. The poet of an older school has named them racketeers. Sometimes they attack Miss Edith Sitwell, who seems to me an important poet, shaped as they are by the disillusionment that followed the Great War. Among her fawns, cats, columbines, clowns, wicked fairies, into that phantasmagoria which reminds me of a ballet called The Sleeping Beauty, loved by the last of the Tsars. She interjects a nightmare horror of death and decay. I commend to you the ham bone and the heart, the lament for Edward Blastock, as among the most tragic poems of our time. Her language is the traditional language of literature, but twisted, torn, complicated, jerked here and there by strange resemblances unnatural contacts forced upon her by some violence beating in her blood, some primitive obsession that civilization can no longer exorcise. I find her obscure, exasperating, delightful.